Okay, happy Wednesday, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Martin. I am a nutrition and community health agent located in Caddo Parish with the LSU Ag Center, and this is Wellness Wednesday. Today, we are hearing from a few of our friends in the College of Agriculture with the LSU Ag Center. They are going to cover the topic Powered by Food, Simple Nutrition for Stronger Days. And just a friendly reminder, if you're new to Microsoft Teams, somewhere on your screen are different icons. There's a chat icon that I would encourage you to put any questions you have into that chat today, and we'll try to do our best to get those answered. I have gone ahead and muted everybody and turned off cameras just to avoid some of that feedback that happens when too many microphones are on or cameras are on. But if you have a question, please put that in the chat and we'll do our best to get that answered. So today we have three wonderful speakers joining us. First of all, we have Dr. Erin McKinley. Dr. McKinley is the current Director of Dietetics and Graduate Studies in Nutrition and Food Science and Associate Professor at LSU, Louisiana State University. She has been a dietitian since 2013 and is also a certified lactation counselor and master certified health education specialist. She received her Master of Science in Food and Nutrition and her PhD in health education and health promotion from the University of Alabama. Her research with the LSU Ag Center centers on survey instrument development in various areas, including infant feeding, medicinal plant supplements, and higher education quality improvement elements. And along with Dr. McKinley, we have two of her students. Today we have Avery Sakovich. Avery was born in Jacksonville, Florida, but has been in Baton Rouge for the past 4 years. She is in her third year at LSU, majoring in nutrition and food science with a concentration in dietetics, as well as double minoring in business administration and health sciences. She's an appointed officer in her sorority, an active member of the LSU Ambassadors, and recently started a student worker position at Pennington Biomedical Research Center, helping with the Grow Healthy initiative. After graduation, she plans to continue her path to become a registered dietitian and complete her master's in dietetic internship for that process. Next, we have Lauren Gillio from Slidell, Louisiana. She is a junior majoring in nutrition and food science with a concentration in dietetics. She plans to obtain her DTR certification after graduating her undergraduate program and plans to attend nursing school in the fall of 2027. So thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off and let y'all take it away. And I'm going to help monitor the chat as we continue with today's presentation.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, and thank you everybody for having us today and inviting us here to share some information for Wellness Wednesday. As Elizabeth mentioned, I am Dr. Erin McKinley, Associate Professor and Director of Dietetics here at LSU, and my role in the Ag Center is where I do all of my research, so it's really great to join other Ag Center representatives here today and to reach a broad subset of folks across the state and possibly outside the state, since we know we have a reach that's pretty far outside the lines of our state. And so just folks may or may not know that March is National Nutrition Month. And so each year during March, we celebrate this through providing nutrition education and information through a campaign sponsored by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, which is kind of the umbrella organization for registered dietitians. And we invite everybody to learn more about making informed food choices and developing sound eating and physical activity habits through different events just like this throughout the month of March. We even have our own holidays, such as National Registered Dietitian Day and National Registered Dietitian Technician Day. Both of those were I think last week during our spring break, so we didn't get to do as much as that here on campus as we would have liked. But National Nutrition Month has been around for a while. It started in 1973 as National Nutrition Week, and due to the demand of how much we could do throughout that time, it expanded out to an entire month in 1980. And each year there's a different theme. And so this year's theme is Discover the Power of Nutrition. And so I used that as kind of the overarching theme for what we're going to talk about with y'all today. So by the end of your time with us today, you will be able to explain how nutrition influences your energy, your focus, mood, and daily performance. You'll be able to describe the components of a balanced meal, recognize the causes of energy crashes, and identify nutrition-based solutions to fix that. Identify the roles of carbs, protein, and fat, and fiber, speaking too fast today, and hydration in supporting steady energy. Apply at least 2 practical strategies to build a balanced meal or a balanced snack in everyday settings. And then hopefully together we can select one realistic nutrition habit that we can implement immediately to get us towards our goals. All right, so to start us off, we need to really start looking at food as a functional part of our day, and that nutrition is not just about weight or appearance, and that food is an important part of our everyday life to be taken seriously because it really does affect how we function throughout the day. And so our energy levels are affected in that our body converts what we're eating into usable energy. And that energy level changes depending on the types of foods that we're eating. And so if we underfuel, we know that we're going to not have enough energy to get through what we need to get through during the day. Or if we overly rely on things such as caffeine or sugar or quick fixes to try to get our energy levels up, that becomes unstable for us, and we experience fluctuations in our energy that may not be conducive to a proper workday for us. Along with that, your brain performance and mood is heavily influenced by what we eat. Glucose is the brain's main fuel source, comes from our carbohydrates that we eat. If our blood sugar is fluctuating dramatically throughout the day, this can change our focus, our mood, our motivation. And if we're trying to get through a long workday, or as part of our jobs, or what we're doing with taking care of our families or loved ones, we may have a hard time making proper decisions throughout the day, to where these fluctuations in blood sugar, because we're not fueling properly, may come into play in a negative way. And when it comes to immune function, protein supports immune cell production and response. Micronutrients such as vitamin C and zinc also do this. And so it's important for us to be focusing on making sure that we're getting certain foods with certain macro and micronutrients into our diet on a weekly and daily basis, so that we can be making sure that we are producing the cells to hopefully be preventing certain things from happening. When it comes to our physical strength, this is really important. We not just need our brain power, we need our physical strength to also be doing things throughout the day. And so we know with protein, this supports our muscle repair. And so even though we may not live a life that is like a bodybuilder and we're doing heavy lifting throughout each day, just moving and grooving throughout a normal day, a normal work day, does put strain on the body, and our muscles need to recover. And so we need protein to support that muscle repair. We need carbohydrates to replenish glycogen, which is restoring our muscle, and we need to be hydrating ourselves to also be restoring that muscle function. And so when it comes to long-term health, putting these practices into place, not just in the short term, but over the long term, really helps us to reduce risk for nutrition-related chronic diseases, such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers. The list goes on, but we know that if we can be getting these practices into place early and do them for a prolonged period of time, we can reduce our risk for these chronic diseases. So why do so many people feel drained throughout the day? And so This is not something to be embarrassed of. It's actually quite normal, and it looks very similar to everybody that experiences it. And so if you think about one of these times where it's happened to you, you've hit about 2:30 in the afternoon, you're not quite done with your workday, you hit some sort of crash where you feel like you either need to go grab a caffeinated beverage like a coffee or an energy drink, or you need to grab something from the vending machine like some Skittles or M&Ms, something that has sugar in it, in hopes that it will give you that quick energy that will wake you back up to get you through those last few hours of the workday so that you can get home and then figure out what to do with dinner. And so our mid-afternoon fatigue leads to difficulty concentrating. A lot of people will say that they get their best work done in the morning because the afternoon we have these slumps because we just can't think straight. And when we can't think straight and make decisions and we're having a hard time concentrating, we get frustrated. And so we're irritable, we may have mood swings, and if we're in the workplace, that may not be the best place to be having mood swings and irritability. And so we sometimes notice these energy crashes after lunch. And so if we're prone to eating a heavy lunch, sometimes um, we will notice that crash happen a little bit earlier than that 2:30 p.m. And so to connect all of this, it's usually linked to unbalanced eating patterns. And so if we have that lunch meal that's high in refined carbohydrates, meaning whatever the carbs are that are part of that meal have been stripped of most of their vitamins and minerals. There's not really a lot of fiber. It's just maybe that meal has low in protein, low in fiber as well, that it's filling, but it's not going to help us maintain our energy throughout the afternoon. And so to think back to our previous slide when we were talking about fluctuations in blood sugar. And so if we have a large refined carbohydrate intake, our glucose level is going to spike. And our body's natural reaction is to want to bring that back down to a level that is normal for us. And so a lot of times what happens is our body overcompensates with that insulin and not just causes it to level out, but causes it to almost bottom out. And that is what that crash is your body's blood sugar levels bottoming out to where your body overcompensated almost by accident because they wanted to make sure that your blood sugar spikes were not too high. And so when you're doing this over and over and over again, it starts to become a strain on the body. But then you experience this almost every day if you're eating these refined carbs, low protein, not a lot of fiber. This becomes very normal to you where you start to bring into the situation the sodas, the energy drinks, the sugary snacks in hopes that in the short term it will bring you back up, but it ends up making it worse because you're just adding more glucose to the situation, and your body's adding more insulin to the situation to bring it back down. So to go a little bit more into that and how energy works in our body, since I've been talking about it a little bit now, your body primarily runs on glucose. Glucose comes from carbohydrates and the breaking down of the carbohydrates that we eat throughout the day. And so to go through what I just discussed again, if we have a meal or a diet throughout the day that is high in refined carbohydrates, so think of like sugary foods, to be as simplistic as possible. If we're eating a lot of that, that leads to rapid digestion. And so the simpler the carbohydrate, the faster it digests. And it goes through the body quite quickly, meaning that the effects on blood sugar will happen even faster than if we had something that was a little slower. And so we have rapid digestion causing that blood sugar spike. The insulin comes in, we get that fast drop, maybe overcompensation with that drop, and that causes the crash. And so we see that a lot in the morning hours when people rely on sugary coffee beverages, donuts, pastries, maybe just a granola bar, which we know most granola bars are just fancy looking candy bars with a fancy looking wrapper that makes it not look like a candy bar. And so these it's satisfying us in the moment for breakfast or for a snack in the afternoon, but it's actually causing this insulin crash to happen. And at the end of it, we're still kind of dragging with our energy level. And so if we were to switch it up and try to create more of a balanced way of our meals and snacks where we have a mix of complex carbohydrates with protein, with healthy fats, with fiber, we can slow our digestion down, make that make the glucose release more gradual, meaning that your insulin will not be reacting as quickly and you'll have more of that steady energy level to be avoiding those crashes, leading to improvements in energy, focus, mood, motivation, all of the things that you're not really experiencing when the crashes are happening. So I'm going to turn it over to Lauren, and she's going to talk more about how to balance our carbs, protein, fats, and fiber in simple ways.
Hi everyone, key nutrients and kind of how to get these. And like Dr. McKinley was just carbohydrates are fuel source, so we want to try to get as many complex carbohydrates as we can get. Mainly
Hey, Lauren.
carbohydrates.
Hey,
Yes,
I'm so
ma'am.
sorry. The sound is cutting in and out on my end.
Yeah. Okay, so we have our four main nutrients. Like I was saying, the carbohydrates. We want to focus on. Sorry. On having more or not simple carbohydrates, more complex carbohydrates, and those are going to fuel us through our day. Our protein, we actually, as humans, get a lot of protein and we focus on protein a lot. Um, and we should be focusing more on fiber because we do get adequate amounts of protein and kind of focusing more on um, I would say, plant proteins instead of getting all of the like red meats and stuff because that can lead to saturated fat. Moving on to healthy fats, these are really good for brain and hormones. So you can think foods like avocado, olive oil, stuff like that. Fiber, like I said, is important for our gut health and gut health. All of these are, crucial for our overall health. So kind of getting into some healthy eating patterns, we want to obviously increase our vegetables, our fruits, our grains, whole grains, kind of getting into those complex carbohydrates, slowing down our digestion. And these foods can also make us feel more satiated. Um, the vegetables and fruit, obviously, those are going to be lower in calories. So you can eat more high volume vegetables and fruits, and those will keep you feeling full for longer. Our lean protein foods, that can be shrimp, chicken breast, foods like that. Low fat or fat free dairy and fortified soy versions. You can think low fat yogurt, milk. Obviously, you're getting so many other nutrients from that. You're getting your macro and micronutrients, which are all vital for your health. And while we want to include and increase these foods, we want to make sure that we're watching out and limiting our added sugars, our saturated fat, and sodium. So a lot of like pre-packaged foods are going to have the added sugars, the saturated fat, and sodium. So kind of like those convenience foods, like Dr. McKinley was talking about, like going to the vending machine for that midday slump, grabbing like a bag of potato chips or M&Ms and M's and stuff. We want to like limit those foods. I know me, I definitely consume a lot of sodium with the foods I eat. I love a good seasoning. So also just trying to find alternatives. Obviously, all of these foods can be consumed in moderation. It's just kind of finding what works for you and balancing that. Okay, so breakfast does set the tone for the day. Obviously, if you start your day with a good balanced breakfast, it'll improve your energy for the whole day. I do struggle with this in the mornings. I know it's not easy to always get your breakfast in. So one thing that I've been trying to do is meal prep breakfast. So just making sure that you're making a balanced breakfast. So you're getting your carbohydrates, your fat, your protein. Those are all important. So, like it says, improving your focus and productivity through the day. It helps you actually reduce your overeating. So, say you're not like saving up all of your food, like eating for the end of the day, you're having it more balanced and getting the energy you need throughout the day. And then obviously getting the protein and fiber for balance. You can add like fruit here. You see like obviously there's I think some protein and carbohydrates and fruit. So you're getting all of those nutrients and all of the benefits. So a little bit of an overview of kind of what Dr. McKinley and I talked about preventing the afternoon slump. So eating every 3 to 4 hours. So maybe breakfast you have at 9, you have lunch at 12, a little afternoon snack at 3, and dinner at 6, and maybe like a little light treat, maybe like fruit or yogurt or something before you go to bed. Just getting that steady energy throughout the day. Pairing your carbohydrates with protein, so maybe like how you eat a whole grain bread sandwich. So you're getting your complex carbohydrates, you're getting a lean protein. You can pair that with like a fruit, maybe like an apple. You can get some cheese for some dairy and some other nutrients. Um, Staying hydrated, I know this is my biggest problem, staying hydrated. Um, I would recommend getting half of your body weight in ounces of water or fluids. I know that's not always like easy, but just having something with you constantly, like a water bottle or just something to remind you to drink water, even if it's like setting a little reminder in your phone, like, hey, drink water. I know it might sound like it's not that important, but ultimately it'll keep you more full, satiated, and could also prevent overeating. And then keeping balanced snacks available. Like I mentioned, if you're going to have like a midday snack around like 3 p.m., having something that's going to be like a protein, a carbohydrate pair together. I know some people do like peanut butter and they want to mix that with really anything as long as you're getting the carbohydrates. Um, I like carrots and peanut butter. I know that sounds really weird, but I like that so I can get my fiber and my protein. So that's all for me.
Okay, so going kind of off what Lauren said, food doesn't just affect your body, it also affects your brain function. So it can have a really big impact on your memory, your focus, and your mood. So focusing on healthy, balanced meals over high sugar snacks and even caffeine can help keep your mood stable and your energy consistent. So some nutrients in particular can make a really big difference. Specifically, omega-3 fats. These help your cells in your brain communicate. And you can find this in fish, shellfish, chia seeds, walnuts, and then also iron, which is in a lot of red meats and then vegetables, fruits. This helps get oxygen to your brain. And then B vitamins as well help support your energy and your brain function. But on top of that, just like Lauren was saying, hydration is really critical for your cognition. So your brain needs water to function. So just even like slight dehydration can make it a lot harder to focus and think clearly. So like she was saying, just having water on hand can really help a lot. So eating healthy doesn't have to be expensive and it doesn't have to be complicated. I know a lot of people get overwhelmed going to the grocery store trying to find everything organic and healthy, and it's really hard, especially when there's a lot of misleading information. So some tips that can help you out would be to plan grocery lists around sales rather than buying everything at full price. So if you know that chicken is on sale one week and then maybe turkey's on sale the other week, you can kind of plan your meals around that. Also keeping budget-friendly staples on hand. So oats, peanut butter, beans, and especially even like beans and rice. That's one complete protein right there. And these are cheap and super filling. Also, frozen vegetables are just as good as raw vegetables. I know that sometimes that's something you hear about, like trying to get more raw vegetables, but frozen vegetables keep longer. They have the exact same nutrients and can help reduce waste. So one thing that I like to do, because I'm not a huge fan of the way leafy greens taste, is I will put them in smoothies with fruit and chia seeds, and there you have your like omega-3 fats, your fiber, everything. And convenience foods can fit. So you don't have to be cooking every single thing from scratch. Starting with a lot of those budget friendly staples can really help build out some really good and time efficient meals. So just remember, be realistic and make balanced choices. Don't overcomplicate it. It's, yeah, it's pretty simple sometimes. So you don't have to undergo an entire lifestyle change to start eating healthy. You can really start with some simple upgrades. So, a couple of little upgrades to start incorporating is starting your day by adding protein to your breakfast. So things like eggs, yogurt, peanut butter, which I actually like to put on like apples, not carrots. These help keep you full longer and help to improve your focus. And then drinking water before sugary drinks. This will help you from like just going straight for the soda or whatever whenever you're thirsty. This will help reduce your sugar intake, which can also help with your energy crashes as well. And then adding vegetables to at least one meal a day. This is where your frozen vegetables can really come into play if you're just heating them up and putting them on the sides of your meals or just incorporating them into like chicken and rice or pasta or whatever you're eating. And then packing one balanced snack daily. This can really help with what Lauren and Dr. McKinley was talking about with going to the vending machine or whatever coffee shops nearby and just reaching for whatever's in sight. If you know that you have a good snack on hand, as soon as you get hungry, you can whip that out, eat that, and prevent a lot of overeating and reaching for less healthy alternatives. Oop. So there we go. Okay. So, when it comes to nutrition, it's really important to find advice that is backed by science. There's a lot of misinformation online, especially now with TikTok and health influencers with no real background in health. So, it's really important to look for trustworthy and accurate sources for nutrition information. So, your best source is a registered dietitian, and you can meet with a registered dietitian who specializes in your unique needs for evidence based advice. And they can give you personalized nutrition information to meet your health goals. And registered dietitians have gone to school, oftentimes grad school, completed internships, and all of that. So you know that you can trust them.
So, just to wrap up what we've talked about today, just so you don't forget, so food fuels how you feel. And so, yes, we want to be preventing long-term diseases throughout our lifespan, but we also want to make sure we feel good today and every day. And so, we want to focus on our energy, our mood, and our ability to concentrate to get whatever we need to do throughout the day done. Two, balance prevents energy crashes. So I had discussed that with our insulin and our glucose levels. And so we really need to make sure that we're not going to completely eliminate carbs. We have not mentioned that at all today. We just want to make sure we're making smart choices with the carbs that we are choosing and combining them with things that will balance out your blood sugar so that you are not experiencing those spikes or crashes throughout the day. And small changes create strong days. And so we never expect individuals to make a complete 180 with how they are eating when we meet with them and educate them either one-on-one in sessions or in groups. if you're able to achieve one small thing, like bringing a snack with you to work that you've put together yourself, where it's like hummus and pita, or, you know, Lauren's, I'm going to try the peanut butter and carrots now that she's been talking about it.
Do the apple.
This is going to be a joke now forever. And so if you're able to just achieve that, that's one small win for you that hopefully will start to show you how that can change a little bit for you. And then that will inspire you to make a little bit more changes when you are comfortable to do so. And then that creates consistency. And so we don't expect perfection. We just want consistency. So trying something new, sticking with it, really seeing it through. You're not going to see immediate changes right away with a lot of these things. And so it's just really sticking with it and staying motivated to really know that you are helping yourself in the end. And because you deserve to feel empowered by your food, when you're eating throughout the day, you should not feel as though it's a chore, this is your job to eat, or that you feel unhappy about what you have to eat. You have as much control over what you are able to fuel yourself with. And so hopefully with the tips we have given you today, you can start to implement some things to make choices that will make you happier with how you're fueling yourself. And then that will in turn have the effect on how you're feeling throughout the day.
Well, that was wonderful. Thank y'all so much for covering this topic for us today. I've opened the chat. I'm waiting to see if we have any questions, but I will tell you, Jennifer has added that peanut butter and carrots are delicious. So you are not alone, Lauren. You were not alone. Okay, there is a question in the chat. Can you give us some more snack suggestions?
Okay, I have a bunch that I had written down that it just really depends on what you like to eat. And so I have stuff where you can have like hard-boiled eggs as your protein, and then that might just be the snack itself. Or you can have Greek yogurt with granola, or that, which kind of gives you that kind of calcium boost as well. As far as other snacks, I have cheese and crackers, hummus and veggies, a homemade trail mix. And with the trail mix, when you're making that at home, you can essentially be adding what dried fruits that you really like. So a really good place to hit up is, like, I know the availability of this is different throughout the state, but Trader Joe's or even going on Amazon, you can save a little bit of money getting like more of the dried cranberries and different fruits that you can be putting into your trail mix. So it's not just
Well, some places like Rouse's and stuff have it where you can go and like actually like pull down a lever and get how much you want of like certain ingredients. They also have that at Whole Foods.
Yeah, like the weigh and pay, like they have at Whole Foods or Rouse's. And so there's probably very similar things that are available at certain markets up in the northern part of the state as well. And so that allows you to kind of try something a little bit of, and then if you don't like it, try something different, a different kind of nut or fruit or grain the next time that you purchase stuff.
Thank you. Let's see, we did have a question come through on the registration, and it was asking about, and I want to make sure I'm reading it correctly. Let's see. It says, what foods inflame your arthritis in your body? Do you have an answer for that, Dr. McKinley?
Ooh, I feel like, okay, as someone with arthritis, I should know this answer right off the top of my head, but I feel it's different for everybody. And so it's going to be more about what's going to help you when those flares are occurring. And so a lot of times if somebody is having a diet of like high in sugar, the high in refined carbs that we kind of discussed today, that in combination with the physical activity related to that body part that they might be experiencing, if there's one body part in particular that they experience it more, like hands or knees or whatever it is, that's in addition to the weather, which is not an old wives' tale. That's when you may see more of it. And so I know when I'm having a flare, I try to bring back in the healthier fats or just more fat into the diet, because if you think about it, it's going to be lubricating your joints. a little bit more to kind of get things moving. And so it's really kind of the moral of what we've been talking today is kind of getting more complex with the carbohydrates so that like the digestion slows down so that things aren't happening so rapidly in the body. Because like a lot of times with the fluctuations in blood glucose, that's what's causing inflammation in the body. And so if your body is more susceptible to those fluctuations and the inflammation having some sort of effect on you because you have arthritis, that's essentially what's going on.
Thank you. While we wait to see if any more questions come into the chat, if you've ever joined a Wellness Wednesday or a program provided by the LSU Ag Center, you know we like to collect feedback. So I have a very short 5-question survey that I'm going to put in the chat. It's the same one that I add every time, but we really do use this information to help guide our program throughout the year. We use the question that asks, what topics are you interested in learning more about? What I do is I take all those topics and get a group to narrow it down for us, and we try to see what the most popular answers are. Let's see, we have one more question. Can you give suggestions for ways to perk up water when getting tired of it?
Yeah, I just want to tackle that one. I feel like y'all probably drink more water than I do with all the water bottles I see in my classroom.
Yes.
Do you have any ideas? I'm not a big water drinker.
Personally, I like plain water, but just putting like fruit in it, if you just squeeze a lemon, lime. I know that's really basic, but I mean, that's the only thing I would really do.
For me, I try to find any kind of alternative to like perking up a water, as you say. I like Propel electrolyte packets personally. They're 0 calories. They have a zero added sugar version that I like a lot. It's just you're getting extra electrolytes with it. And they actually have like good flavors. There's one with like a mild amount of caffeine. I think it's like 80 milligrams. So just like little things like that. Also growing up, my mom always did like lemon and cucumber infused water. That's a big one. You can buy like a infuser kind of pitcher. That's what my mom has. And she does like strawberry water, she does cucumber lemon water, stuff like that. So it's also maybe getting a few nutrients in there. So that's what I do.
Yeah, sometimes if you do like frozen fruit, it will act as the ice throughout the day. Because sometimes when you put certain fruit or vegetable, like a cucumber, it gets mushy and whatnot.
It's not good for long.
And sometimes with the hydration sticks, as we call them, there's a million of them out there that you can choose from that are available in stores and online. A lot of times they are secretly have really high sodium levels that may be actually too much for somebody who's trying to watch their sodium levels. And so if somebody is trying to stick to, 15, 2000 milligrams a day, sometimes those hydration sticks alone have 500. And that's not even including any meal that they're eating that day. And then some of them secretly have way more sugar than you would expect. And then on the flip side, it may be 0 sugar, but there's all of the sugar alcohols, which could cause GI upset in some folks, and just some of the non-nutritive sweeteners. Not that they're necessarily bad, but it's just kind of like after a while, you're just tricking your brain into thinking things are sweet. And so it's not always preferred, but if you find one that you like and it at least gets you, to drink, if you're only sticking to like one a day, that sort of thing, it shouldn't be that bad. But only drinking water with a hydration stick added to it throughout the day is not recommended.
Yeah,
I'll tell you here in Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say here in our office, we really like to do sliced strawberries with mint leaves. And sometimes when we have meetings at the office, we'll perk up the water, as you said, jazz it up a little bit. And you would think we just cooked like a meal for, 24 hours straight. Some of our coworkers just get so excited when we have flavored water here in the office. It's wonderful. We need more water. So the easy way to get some more. Let's see. Okay, I don't see any other questions at this time. I am going to go ahead and put another link in the chat. This is for our next Wellness Wednesday, which is going to be held on Wednesday, April 15th at noon Central Standard Time. We will have Kayla Georgeville, who is a registered dietitian, come on, and that topic is going to be nutrition for kidney health, small habits that protect your kidneys. And I will send that out as well. But if you're on the call today, you can go ahead and register if you would like and get that on your calendar. We are planning to host the Wellness Wednesday series the third Wednesday of every month for 2026. So you can go ahead and pencil in those dates if you would like. But I'll give it just a little bit longer and see if we have any other questions that come into the chat. But in the meantime, I do want to make sure that we thank Dr. McKinley and Avery and Lauren. This was a wonderful presentation. I enjoy these every month. I feel like I always learn something new. And I believe our audience really enjoyed this topic today. Okay. Well, I don't have any more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and I will end the event for everyone. Once again, thank you all so much for covering this webinar, and thank you to our participants for joining us for Wellness Wednesday. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will plan on seeing y'all next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.